Okay, this screencast is just a very basic overview of HTML5 semantic markup. Now, a good place to get information and help and some training on HTML5 and semantic markup is going to the w3schools.com, and on the HTML5 section it will list the elements on here, as well as, you've got the semantic markup of how it's supposed to be structured. So you've got all the elements and how the page is structured, and what tags should be used, and how basically that corresponds to a layout. It doesn't necessarily have to be presented as it is here, but basically these are all the tags that actually are more descriptive about what the page content is. So if someone looks at the code, it's pretty simple to say, yes, okay, that's an article, or this is the main part of the page, or that's a navigation bar. In the past, people would call things different classes or different IDs in their div tags, and what's happening now is to try and have that a little bit more uniform, so the page doesn't have, what they like a tag soup of IDs and classes. Is try and standardize it so people can look at the code and go, haha, yeah, this is a structure, and all pages have more or less a common structure. So it's a good place to go to find out information to do with. Also, the other issue is browser support as well. It is an issue with HTML5. Now here I've laid up a wireframe to just show you the structure of semantic markup with HTML5. Now it doesn't have to be laid out like this. This is just corresponding to just a a generic standard structure of how you could lay things out. For example, navigation bar could be above the header if you wanted to. Now the only issue is that you have these tags on here. So you have a header right up at the top of the page. You're going to have a header tag, and inside the header, that's at the top of your page, your banner or your hero image up at the top of your page. Now what you will have is a H1 heading tags in there, which you'll have probably the name of your site, and maybe it'll have a tagline or a subheading on there in a smaller font, possibly a paragraph tag. It'll have a logo inside the header, and also possibly have a background image with the text overlaid on it. Then you'll have a navigation bar. Now, however that's going to be, you might want to present it on the left, or you might want it going across in line, but it will have within the nav tags, and that's where it'll have your navigation links. Now you'll have a main section on your page, or a block. Now there'll only be one main block on your page that will be unique. Each page will have a main block, and that's what will have all the information that you have on there. It'll be maybe an article or a blog post, or it could be a gallery of pictures, or a story, or a news item. Now inside there you will have a number of sections and article sections or blocks. Now a section can contain other articles within it that are associated together, or child articles in blocks within it. Now what I've done here is I've just got a section. Now this section can be just presented as something. It can be a jumbotron where it has a bit of text that with a button that links to another page which gives you information, or it can be related to the article. Then underneath here I've got an article block. Now an article block again will have to have a header tags, as does the section, and you'll probably need to have anywhere between H2 and H6. Now there is a lot of debate about putting H1 headings in here, but usually the page at the top of the title needs to be H1, and maybe all the other stuff needs to be a smaller size to show its importance and its hierarchical structure cascading down. Now the article you can have a number of different articles on your page. It's up to you. And also inside an article you could have a section, so you could have some section tags there, which that might have statistics about the article or some other images associated with it. So there's a bit of more opportunities for arranging your design. Now, at the side here, we've got a sidebar, and this is called aside, and that's the tags you would use. Again, you don't really need to have it on the right here. It could be on the left if you wish, and even it could be at the bottom, and there are some cases where you could have an aside that is a child element of maybe a section. It's mostly associated with the content that's on the page, so a lot of these tags are to do with association. If you have a section with articles within it, the information that's in the section will be related to the article, and that's how they should be nested together. If they're nested together, they're related to each other. If they're pretty separate, then they're not. So that's what you will have. You'll have main, and inside the main you'll have a number of sections that could contain articles within it. Also, you have articles maybe on their own, which again could contain sections within them, and they're all associated and the child properties of the main element. Now, at the bottom, you'll have a footer, and the footer block goes right across the bottom. And again, all websites have that. It has contact details, copyright information, maybe a sitemap, and other information, and they will be contained in these footer tags. So that's just an overview of the basic structure. These are just the structural elements which all the sites have, and if you can arrange them in a different way, but that's the common structure. So when you do go in the code, you'll be able to see them here working in a team, or you're picking up a website that someone else has designed. It'll be easier to associate which section is which. It will help search engines and search engine optimization, and also it's an accessibility issue to do with people who are visually impaired, who have readers programmed within their browsers that will actually read out what the page is, and they'll be able to pick up on these tags and understand what they mean, and that will create a better user experience. Okay, now we've established the basic structure for our HTML5 semantic web page layout. I'm going to start to lay that up and mark it up in some HTML. Now I'm using here Brackets. Brackets is an open source text editor which Adobe now are partly developing, and they have dropped the Edge code CC and are now focusing on Brackets. So the good thing about Brackets is it's integrated with quite a lot of other Adobe packages, and also has a lot of plugins to do with themes, and also connecting it with other functionality to make your coding experience a little bit more easier. So, but any text editor you can use. The biggest thing with text editors when you're doing code or markup is just stick with one you really like and you know how to use, and that's the best approach. Okay, we'll just jump in and we'll get going. First, we need to go to the File menu and we need to create a new document. I will then quickly save it. So I'll go File, Save. I'll go to my desktop. I will create a new folder. I'll call it My Website. And then I will call this index in lowercase, as all home pages are called index.html, and then I will save it in that folder. Now once I've saved it in there, it's quite simple getting going to put on the document type. So I will just open up my tag here. Once I've done that, I need an exclamation mark, and then in capitals I'm going to type in doc type. Now sometimes you can put this in lowercase if you want. It's quite common that they put the word doc type in uppercase. Then I'm going to put HTML that in lowercase, and then I close that off. Now once I've done that, I'll just return, and I'm on the next line, and this line is going to be what language this is in, and it's going to be in English. So I need to open up a tag and have HTML, and then I'm going to type in lang. And again, these text editors, as you probably be aware, they come up and we can then prompt us to put code in, so we don't have to type it all. So it's got lang equals, and then it's got speech marks, and inside that I need to put EN for English. I'll just move along right to the end of the speech mark and close off that tag. Now what it's done here, it's then added the closing tag for HTML, and if I just go down a couple there. Now up at the top, what we're going to do is put a header in. Now sometimes in HTML5, some tags you don't really need, so you probably get away with not putting a head tag in, but again, you know, I'm going to put it in there. You can have it without and put the title of the page and all the other stuff in there, but I'm going to put a head tag in. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put in a head tag. So I open the tag and put in head, and then I close that off, and then it's closed it off for me with the end tag. I just move that down. I'm going to put the meta for the character set, so I will just open up a tag and put meta, and then the meta is going to be character set. So again, it's prompting me to come up, but it's just char set. Then you have an equals, then you have a speech mark. Then I'm going to put UTF-8, then move along here and close that off. Then I'll return, and you'll see these are tabs that usually come in. Usually they're about 4 character spaces. You can change these things to the preferences. It's up to you. Just makes it more easier to see where you've got things and the tags, and make them up when you're doing that to make sure you close things off and where they fit in or where they're nested. Now underneath here, the meta, I'm going to type in title, and again it's prompted me and it's done that. I close that off. Now inside here I'm just going to put my web page. That's going to be the name of the, spell it right, page. That's going to be just the title of the page that's written in English, and it will appear up on the header when you look at it in the browser on the bar up at the top. Now I put in my header. Now underneath the header, I'll come underneath here, and I'll just move across here, and I'm on line 7 right across. I've backspaced it, and I need to put the body of the page. This is what the body of the page, all the information, which is separate from the header, because the information on the header doesn't necessarily appear on the page. Okay, so I open up my tags and I type in body, and then I close that off, and again it's closed it off for me. Now it's going to be quite a lot of information here, so I just return a few times here, and now I've got it in my body. Now the first part of the body is going to be our header. Now header is just where I would put, as we've seen before, where I put my title of the page. I'd have maybe a banner up at the top, and I could have the navigation bar nested in it, but I'm going to have my navigation bar separate. Now I'm going to call this header. Again, when I close it off, it will bring it up. Now I'll just sort of move that down because I've got a number of items to put in here. Now I'm going to put a H1 or heading 1, the largest, in there, and close it off. Now this is going to be the title of my page, so I'll just call this Hello World, for want of a better title. Now that's in there. Now when you do try and validate your documents with HTML5, with the doc tag HTML, it will actually want you to have certainly headers, and also it will want you to have these heading tags in there, and it will bring, it will bring those up as errors. So I've put that in there. Now you could also incorporate a logo on here if you wanted to, or have another strap line on there, or anything like that. You can add extra information. That's up to you. I'll just keep it simple to show you how that works. Now I'll come down with the header. Now the next part after the header, I'm going to put the navigation bar. Now wherever you want to put the navigation bar, you can have it coming in or indenting, however you want it to be. So I'll come along and I'm going to put nav, and I'm going to close that off, and again it closes it off, and if I return a few times, then I can put in my links. What I'm going to have is an unordered list, so I've opened that up and it's closed it off for me. I'll just return. Now in here I need to have list items, So I will just put in a number of links on here. Open up my tag and put LI for list item, and then I would close it off and it closes it off for me. Now inside here I need to create a link, so I open up another tag and I'm going to put an anchor, which is A. I'll move along a little bit and I'm going to put href, and once I put href I'm going to have href equals, and it's not going to go anywhere basically, it's just going to be a bit of a sort of blind link. So I put speech marks and then I put a hash sign in there and finish it off with the speech marks, and then I close off that tag. Okay, and that will just have a link that doesn't go anywhere. Now I need to put the word that is going to be on there on the page. So after I have that, I'm going to just put home, and that's what will appear in the bar. Now what I'll do is I'll just copy this, and I'll just paste it and then paste it again. And all I'm going to do is change this and call this info. And this one I'm going to call this photos. Okay. Now I'll just save that up to date. Now we've got some information here already, and what we'll do is we'll just see what it looks like. Now you can preview in browsers in different ways in these different text editors. You can cut and paste, or it might have a button. So this one has a live link to it, so it'll open it up in Chrome. And here we have it. So basically what we've got here is this is what we've created so far, right? So I will just sort of move this in here a little bit, and then I'll move over my coding here and put this on the side and bring this over. Okay, so I've already established my document setup. I put a header in there, and now I put the information for my navigation bar. Now underneath the navigation bar, I move along and I'll just indent it a bit here. I'm going to have a main section, and this is the main part of the page. So I type in main and close that off, and it closes off the link for me. I return a bit because I need to put a little bit of information in there. So first of all, I'm going to have a section on here. So I open up the tag and I put in section, and then I close it off, and there we have section. So what I will do is I will just return, and first of all I'll put a header in there. So I'll put, open up the brackets and put header, close it off. Now inside the header I'm going to put another tag. I'm going to put a h2 tag, and I'm going to put first news. I'll just put breaking news, I guess, because this is a section in there. So I'll put breaking news in there. Okay, after I've put the heading in there, I'll just return. I'm going to just put a p tag in here, and I'm going to just put some body text in. So I'll put some body text in there. Now I'll just sort that out. It's a bit all over the place there. So what we've got is just a bit of body text in a p tag. I'll just take that down. There we go, to sort that out. And that's a bit of body text that we've put on there. Now if I just save that, you'll see it'll appear here, and it's got breaking news as the title, and then it's got the body text, which is in a paragraph, and that's within the section brackets. So that's a section on there. Now underneath the section, the code and the page, I will now put in an article. Okay, I'll type in article, and then I'll close that off. Now inside here again, I will just copy this here above from the section, and I'll just put it down here in the article section, And this time we'll say news story, and that can be a story in there. I'll just save that, and you'll see here how it's put it in the bracket in the browser. It's got that as the section, and then here it's got my news story. So we've got an article, and also we've got a section. Okay, so that's all the part of the main, and if we come down here, we've got the main down here. Okay, so after the main down here, I'll just give it a bit of a gap here, and I'm going to put in my aside. So I'll start typing aside, it's bringing it up, and I'll close it off, and I'll just put sidebar info, and that will go on there. I'll just get that right. So sidebar info, I save it, and here's the sidebar info. Now you can put headers in there, or I think you want, or however you want to structure it. So this is just laying out the basic blocks or components for it. Now after I've got my sidebar, I'll just return down here, and finally I'm going to put in my footer. So I'll just open this up, footer, and again it's got it. Open it up, close the brackets, and I'll just say footer info goes here. Okay, and then we save that, and you'll see down here now it's got that item, and it's put it down the bottom. So we've got all our items structured on a page. We've got, if we recap, we've got our header right up at the top, and then we've got our navigation bar, and then our first part was the breaking news, which was the section. Then we got the news story, which was an article, and then we've got our sidebar. Obviously it's not laid out with any styles as yet, and then right at the bottom it's got where the footer goes. So this is just a basic structure for our HTML5 semantic layout using the tags. Okay, I just need to check its validation, and what I will do is go to validator.w3.org, and then once I'm there I'll go validate by upload, and once I've got that I will click choose. I will then navigate to where that HTML document is that I've just created. I click open, and once I've got that I will click check. Now it will come up. It's got some warnings here, just one warning. It's come up and said, you know, it's been successful as a HTML5. It's recognized everything. Everything appears to be fine. It'll just come along and give an explanation to do with, you know, because, you know, HTML5 is relatively new and it's still being developed. That basically, you know, the test may not be reliable, but basically it's come up and it says all's well. So our markup's fine, and how we structured it, and it's given us no errors or anything we need to change. If it does, it will give you good information about how you could change your markup to improve it, and then resubmit it for validation. We've got all that on our page is set out, ready to be styled using cascading style sheets.